Okay, welcome to another episode of Wayne's World Garage. It's Sunday, and we're working on our equipment shed project. So Paul, Inky, and I have got 6 of these 8x8 posts sunk in the ground, a minimum of 30 inches, which is the frost line in Maryland. And we have concrete in each of the holes. We backfilled them a little bit of top dirt just to make it look nice. So the next thing we did is we set the tripod up over here, and we put the High Dollar Transit on it. Not High Dollar, it's old school analog transit. And we put lines on all these boards to get a reference point. So we got lines here on every board, and you can see some, because the ground, deviates a little bit, plus or minus a foot or so, some lines look higher than others. To double check it, we have the Amazon laser level, and we're going to do some laser levels with that and see how that looks. They should have the same distance between them. There we go. All right, so now what we do here, we're going to take a look at this measurement here from right here to the bottom of this line here, which happens to be not visible because I don't have a line on that side of it. So going to this post, see there, we show exactly 39 3/8 of 1 inch, 39.375 if you do machine work. Okay, 39 3/8. Now let's go to this one. And with any luck, it's the same. And check that out. It couldn't be better. So now what I know is my reference points for using a transit and a laser level are the same. What we need to do though is chop these off and notch them out for these horizontal boards. And this would be a nice reference point. So we'll just take and scribe into these guys and mark them up. So let's go do that. All right, so here we are, somebody with really good eyesight.
So
Perfect.
It's interesting, this is not completely level.
Oh my God.
I know, it's a smidge off.
Well, it could be the woods cockeyed. I think it's perfect. Good, and I'll have you do each one, every one, because if I do them, they'll, you know what I mean? There you go. That one looks pretty good.
This one's beautiful.
Woo. Might as well do, so you're doing it above the green line or you're covering up the green line? It doesn't matter to me.
No, I think
So this is best done at dusk. And that's why it's 10 of 8 in the evening and the sun's gone down. Plus we're not sweating our tails off. Should we put the laser level on the fence we put up 2 years ago and see how level that is? No, I don't think so.
it's not level, that follows contour on the ground.
Yes, so this fence we put up 2 years ago with all fence boards we cut from trees from this land, all poplar and white oak. And we had to buy the pressure treated 4x4s, but there's a lot of fence we put up, and that was what a fun project that was, my gosh. All right, so here we are. We're going to work on notching out some of these 8x8s. Easier said than done. Quick run to Home Depot last night at 8:30 to pick up a better Sawzall blade because the one I had was not working. And what we have here, we took a pallet and put it on the tractor forks. We've got pallet forks, which aren't very good actually because the tractor can't lift that much, but it can lift me, and it lifts us up high enough, and it's a little bit easier than working on a ladder and falling on my tail that way. So that's what we're doing here, and I think it's a good plan. So we almost got one notch cut out. It looks horrible because the Sawzall blade wasn't working, but it'll be working today. So let me get it going here. And by the way, it is 7:30 in the morning because we can only do this about an hour and a half or 2 hours, because when the sun comes out, it's brutal because it's 95 degrees and 90% humidity. Maybe not 95, but it's kind of warm out. But I think we're in good shape. We're ready to go. I'll cut a notch in the back of this thing and see what happens here. Three teeth per inch. Diablo. Where's Diablo? He could help out. Let's see how this thing works. All right, so what I did is I took the circular saw and I cut 2 inches deep on both the sides where the board's going to go. Then vertically, I took the saw and I sliced down until it just touched my 2-inch line on the front and back of the board. Okay, so I actually have 1, 2, 3. I've got 6 cuts in each of these. Now the thought is I'll just take the Sawzall with a fancy dancy, Diablo 3-tooth per inch blade and zip this thing right off of there. Unfortunately, that was a total fail. This ended up causing nothing but frustration, and it didn't work. So the cuts I've got in these first 2 posts, while they will work just fine, I'm not satisfied with them. So on with the program, we're going to come up with a different plan, which we'll discuss shortly. So what I'm doing here is you might see the Beasley clamp, little red clamp on the ground, maybe 3 or 4 feet in the air. And what we're doing is we're using that as a reference point. It's clamped in a piece of wood, and we're measuring 4 feet up, and that's the top of the post. And cutting off the tops of the post level is working pretty well with the Sawzall. So what I do is I mark it. We mark it with the square, and then we take the circular saw, cut it 2 inches deep on 3 sides, and finish it up with a Sawzall. And cutting the wood horizontally against the grain, into the grain, seems to work very well with a Sawzall. So that works well. But the next thing I want to do is mark in 2 inches so I can notch these posts out. Again, as you will see, that turns into be nothing but a fail because, frankly, this doesn't work very well trying to notch them this way.
Perfect.
So this one seems to start off okay and going pretty straight. As you can see on the side towards me, well, you can't see that, the Sawzall blade fits right in there. And my goal is to have it track and follow down on the other cut I did, 2 inches deep. And it starts off pretty well, but towards the end it starts going cockeyed again. So again, fail. And it just annoys the heck out of me that we can't get this straight. You'd think it would work a little bit better. All right, today it's take 2. The humidity's finally dropped down a little bit. It's not 95 degrees, 95% humidity. We got 2 of the notches cut with a Sawzall and circular saw. I don't think it worked very well. It did not. A lot of 4-letter words involved. So today we're going to try the cookie cutter method. So let's get cracking and see how that works. Hopefully it'll work. So Paul is taking this piece of wood here and clamping it onto our reference mark. And what we do is we measure 48 inches up, and that's where we whack off the top of the post. And the only thing the wood does is it gives me something to hook the ruler to so the ruler doesn't go flapping and flying as much as it normally does, as you guys all know. So the other thing we're trying here a little bit is use the ladder to at least draw my lines and stuff like that. And I think I can make some of the cuts on it. I'm not entirely comfortable on a ladder. I actually have 0 balance. No proprioception is what they call it. But we can kind of lean against the ladder and get it done a little bit. And the ladder, I think, works out pretty well in most of these cases. So let's try it and see how it works. The top of the post has been marked, so I can cut it off entirely. So this is my top, where hopefully the top of the headers will go. So I take the Sawzall, cut it as deep as it will go on 2 or 3 sides, and take the Sawzall to whack it off. And that actually works out relatively well. All right, so last time what I did is I cut here with a circular saw to notch it, vertical line down here, vertical line on the other side, and then tried to Sawzall it. It was a failure. So after 2 posts, we're going to try something different, what I call the sliced bread method. A whole bunch of slices, horizontal slices, and whack it off. Let's see how that works out, Jack. I will let you know soon. Probably the first one is probably the most important, because that sets me up for failure or success here. All right, so here's the theory. You whack these and they come off. How about the bigger hammer? Just for a couple hits, you know. I think, let me try the Sawzall with a shorter blade. Is there a shorter blade with a lot of teeth in it? Hold on, Paula. I need to move the ladder away some more. All right, day 3 of notching these sons of a guns. And frankly, I don't like the outcome of this. It just seemed to be really hard to do with the cookie cutter method. So take 3. Take 3 is going to be a combination of the skill saw and the chainsaw. Maybe take 4 will be chainsaw only. Probably should have started that way. We'll see. Okay, well here's what you've all been waiting to see. Now for the exciting part. So this side, the side of my right, I did with the bread cutter method, the bread slicing method, which worked poorly. And on this side, took the circular saw, did a vertical slice on both sides. On the top I did a vertical slice, which only gets a little over 2 inches. And I sliced in from the side to get my depth. And now we'll take the chainsaw. It's a Stihl 201 TC. A fabulous saw. It's got a lot of power, it doesn't weigh anything, and it's easy to use. It's a top saw, so you can really use it with one hand. No, you can't, but it's designed for working in trees and stuff like that. And I'm still ripping this wood, and this wood's a hard wood. It's pine. It's a really cheap fir, and this saw is sharp. The blades are sharp, but it still takes a couple minutes to rip this wood, but it works a whole lot better, I think. So as far as time consuming goes, which is quicker, which is slower, this is probably the quickest method. Safe, I don't know. I was waiting for the stupid circular saw to whack me in the face. At least here with a chainsaw, there's less of a chance of that happening, I hope. And it seems to be working out pretty well. So we'll see. We did the rest of them like this, and I'm pretty pleased with the results, frankly. So that wraps up the notching of these posts. And it turns out they worked out pretty well with the chainsaw method. Took 3 tries to get the right methodology down here. But this was the first one I did of the day. And I ended up doing 2 more posts. So 4 more notches. And I, meaning Paula, myself, Inky, and Coco. And it took a couple more hours to do those. That seemed to work out okay. No problems whatsoever. And they look pretty good. We'll see, because the next step now that we've got 6 posts in the ground, 6 holes dug, 6 posts in the ground, and then 6 of these things notched out, now we get to put up some white oak 2x12s. And let's see how that works out. That's going to be the next big step. So thank you for watching this. If you really like these, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get more subscribers. My watch count is way down the last couple of weeks, months actually, probably because this stuff's boring to you guys. But if you guys like it, tell your friends about it. Tell your wife, your kids, your dogs. Let them watch it. Get them to subscribe. Thumbs up. All that good stuff. Thanks for watching stuff. I appreciate it. You guys have... And by the way, how much time did this take so far? Well, to be honest with you, we spent 4 days, I believe, cutting these notches off. Maybe 3 days. And it's been really warm out and bright and sunny. And when it's this hot and humid, we don't want to work in a full sun. So... we started in the mornings, 7:30 or so, worked for a couple hours, then started back up in the evening around 6 o'clock, worked a couple more hours,
and called it a day. So we ended up working several hours on it for several days, but it worked out all right, and it's moving along just swimmingly well.